upcoming Thursday, I'm going to be doing a webinar at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for a new feature that we have for the single property websites with Listing Booster. Now check this out. Nobody in the country is doing this. So you're going to be able to have a chat bot or a chat box on all of your single property websites. So for lenders, this is really cool because you and your real estate agents are posting and generating hundreds, sometimes thousands of leads per month. But I know that conversion is something of an issue. So now we have a little chat box which pops up in the corner and we can answer any questions that somebody who's looking at that property might have. This is really cool because it's going to get rid of a lot of the looky-loo leads, like other real estate agents and neighbors. The only people who will engage are going to be people who are interested in the house, or as you guys like to refer to them, a better quality lead. Now, you can funnel them all into one source where you can have auto responses, which is the bot, or where you can actually type and respond to these folks, which is the chat box. It's a super great form of engagement that lends itself to a much higher conversion ratio. And as I always say, in marketing, you want to be a red hat in a sea of black hats so you can stand out, and this will do it for you. So make sure that you click the link down below that says chatbot or somewhere around this site so you don't miss the webinar. I look forward to seeing you and on with our show. So I just had a conversation with a mortgage loan officer who runs a regional banking operation, and he's dealing with a compliance issue regarding inaccurate HMDA reporting. And I mean, I just got off the phone with this fella. This is a legacy problem that goes back for him over 2 years. Now, I'm going to intentionally be vague about who it is or what it's concerning because that's what this circumstance calls for right now, because this is happening right now. In other words, if I get more specific, it could make the circumstance worse for this person. Now, when I can discuss this more candidly, I absolutely am going to, and I promise you that it's going to make you scratch your head in frustration and in anger. Now, how can this happen today, right now, when we thought we had these problems behind us? Now, I bring this up for a reason. I gotta tell you, I am so irritated about this right now that if I were to write a loan today, I would pull an Elizabeth Warren and check the box of the person's ethnicity of my borrower as being that of a protected class. I don't care who they are. An underserved community. My HMDA reporting as a loan officer would appear as if 95% of all the loans that I'm writing are for protected classes. Now, I say this for a reason. Before you get outraged, hear me out. The idea that a lender would not fund a loan based on a person's ethnicity in this market at this time when loans are scarce is absolutely insane and preposterous. Lenders are working right now just too darn hard to keep their doors open and could ill afford not funding a loan because they didn't like somebody's ethnicity. Now, you might be saying, what about a higher interest rate, Brian? Well, here's what I would say. Show me that memo how it happened, because for that to take place, it would require a top-down systematic approach to put a discriminatory lending bias in place for a mortgage loan officer through their company. I really, honestly, guys, I don't see it happening. Before you blast me as being naive, I'd like to remind you how the CFPB busted Ally Financial for this very discriminatory practice that I speak of right now. Now, in case you forgot, here's what the CFPB did. They took a person's last name and ran it across the zip code where that person lived in to determine that person's ethnicity. Think anything might go wrong there? In fact, we tried this. We posted this algorithm a number of times on our very show and had our viewers and our office do it. Put in our last name and the zip code. And what we determined is it was accurate about 50% of the time. A coin flip. These findings in this algorithm were the cornerstone of an $80 million judgment, strong-arm judgment, against Ally Financial. In other words, there's a lot of money at stake. Now, what this tells me is that certain agencies within our government, if they can't find discriminatory lending practices, they're simply content to make them up. How could you possibly draw another conclusion? Now, for the cases where discrimination truly exists, because they do, these type of actions hurt true cases of discrimination. That's not good.
That's no good.
So what I'm telling you is this mindset is still alive and well within some of our national agencies, which is also not good. So if I stood a chance as a lender of being busted for an infraction for which I am not guilty, I'm going to employ the same tactics and cook the books on my HMDA data. Remember, it says if you don't know a person's ethnicity, you can make an educated guess. Well, my educated guesses would be, well, very Elizabeth Warren-esque. And again, for those of you who find this irreverent or offensive, I simply ask you to listen very carefully how I drew this conclusion, and before you choose to write me something that's criticizing me, let me know what a better alternative would be based on the circumstance I just outlined. Because busting a lender, costing them money, huge amounts of money, putting them out of business, or even having them have to lay off staff as a consequence of a bogus charge will make borrowing money at lower costs ultimately more expensive for those protected classes that these very lawsuits are intended to protect. Again, I thought, even based on our show as of yesterday, that this was all behind us. And I'm here to tell you, based on a conversation that I just had, that it's not. And that's unfortunate. Now, if this speaks to you, please share the show with other people in the mortgage industry and real estate industry. And if you'd like to get more updates for us on a daily basis with great talking points to help you with your business, make sure, if you're seeing us for the first time, subscribe. We'll keep sending these to you every day.